Art students, I'm back. I really didn't go anywhere. I just kind of got crazy in the last video. So if this is your first time seeing this video, if you clicked on this video, this is part 2 to the video before, which I talked about bringing your character to life. And then I ended up showing some of my old drawings, my old stories, and my old character designs, and got a little crazy and showed you a little too much. So I cut this and split it in half to make a 2-parter. So this is my stories and old art, and this should be called Storytelling, Pacing, and Sequential Art. All right, let's go finish up this video. Oh, and one last thing. If this gets 50 likes, just 50 likes, then I will show you guys some of my old stuff. I'll put together a bunch of my old pages and just show them to you real quick to show you all the stuff that I have done over the years. So yeah, if it just gets 50 likes, you know, just 50, I'm not talking about 5,000, 500,000, just 50, I'll take that as a yes, we want to see more of your stuff. So yeah, let's see what we get. All right, here we go. Now, while I was looking for the flamethrower, I ended up finding some of the other pages for the girls. I don't even know what I call the story. You know, it was just, yeah. So the first one is in order, and the rest are just kind of out of order. I didn't know I started redrawing it because you can tell the difference between the paper color. So, because, you know, but these girls are in my stable of characters. So, okay, so she was reaching for the sword, so the sister thought. So then she grabbed the rock, and she threw the rock at the sister. The sister used her little short sword, you're going to get on me again, and blocked the stone. She covered her face because she threw it at her face. She blocked it. For that second of her blocking and covering her view, she was able to jump. She grabbed her sword, jump up, and cut her. So she knocked this sword out of her hand, which stuck into the little pillar up here, and she used that later. So she cut her. So the rest are kind of not in order because I don't remember the sequence too much. So I think this was like the first page. This is one of the first page. The first page, when you see both of them, and yeah, you see both of them. And people think she's floating in the air because there are a couple people thought she was floating in the air. It's just that this is her background, and I just decided to extend her legs. It's kind of like a comic book thing, and this is her background because she's not into that. It just extended her head. They both extended into each other's backgrounds. And this is when I was like drawing crazy, stupid detail back in the day. I still do. So, as I said, I started redrawing it. I don't know why I redrew it, but this is like the next one. She put her helmet back on, and she was holding the cut, and she kind of like looked up at, well, the camera's like looking down because her sword is here. So she's saying something like, you know, you think so? She's got that look, and the sister's coming in to kind of like slash her. And then she flipped up. The girl, no, I think she, where was it? Here it is. She missed because the girl flipped up. She used that one sword to put into the little crease of the pillar, which was, you know, falling apart, which is, which are like, you know, breaking right here, these little cracks here. So she used that. She wedged the sword in there to actually give her that extra flip up, where she grabbed the other sword and then flipped down. So I don't think the rest are in sequence. And then she cut it so hard, she cut that pillar so hard right here that it cracked. And when she jumped down, she kind of like ran off, and she looked back like, where you going, you little, you know, scuzz? So the whole pillar fell. And then because the place was like so dusty, the dust came up, and then she was like, where are you at? She couldn't see, they couldn't see each other because of the dust, but the ninja had like the advantage. So she got pissed off. So she did like one hard swipe, and it cleared all the dust away. I don't think you can see that because it's blue pencil. So you can see like the dust being like cleared away. And then the girl ended up being behind her. And then they were getting ready for another showdown. I guess it is kind of in order. So this was a little side page right here. They were running toward each other, and they were both about to strike with their weapons. And then this other weapon blocked both of them from striking. And then that ended up, and this was, I think I did this page first. And then it didn't work. I did like 2 pages, 2 splash pages, this one and the next one, and it didn't work. So I just put it all on one page. So it was this one where she was running, that one where the sister was running, and then they did this little strike, and then she blocked it, but her weapon, and this is the sister. This is the oldest sister. And so I said I started the story when the pages were nice and yellow, and as I kept going, I started developing them, which I should have developed the whole story first, and then that was about it. And this was like another earlier page where the sister came up to her with her speed, and then she blocked it. And I remember now, she said, I forgot how fast she was. So yeah, and then we go back to the old stuff. So yeah, now let's get into one of the first comics that I tried to produce, which was the Flamethrower. Some of it, I think it's in sequence. So the story on this guy was he was a fireman. You gotta have a backstory. He was a fireman, and I had been watching some, I can't think of what the Discovery Channel, one of those channels, and they were talking about how people would like get hit by lightning. They were like human lightning rods, and lightning would, hit them. And some people are like, I got hit by lightning like 12 times. So they would go like hide in the basement whenever there's a storm coming. And some people that would just catch on fire, something combustion, some kind of combustion, that they would just catch on fire, just like for no reason, and they would all burn up except for maybe like their shoes or their feet and their shoes or something. Some part wouldn't burn up, and because there was this one guy who was in a chair, and the chair basically didn't burn. It was just kind of like black from the heat of the body, but the only thing that was left was his feet in his shoes on the floor. And it was not a common occurrence, but there were some people that do just internal combustion, I believe is what it's called. So I said, that's weird. So I thought about this guy. So he was a fireman, and just like the lightning would hit somebody, fire would attract to him. So he was, on a routine day, they were putting out a house fire, and the fire came, it just kind of like leaped up, and it attacked him. And this is the first one I tried, because I started putting the panels for the narration. I did not know you were supposed to put the narration and then board it off. So, and then my little one straight line inking. I had no idea about inking. This was just, my first time. I knew I wanted to do comics. I knew that my anatomy was fairly good, and I could see the story, and I could show the story. Tell and show are two different things. So the fire came to this guy, and you can see like the close up of his eyes. Oh, this is it. So he was just consumed in the fire, and then the other guys like rallied around him to try to put the fire out. But he was burnt, but he survived. So later on, they kind of skin grafted him and got him back. He doesn't have hair. That's the one thing, because he was really hairy. He can't grow hair anymore. That's going to be one of the things in the story, because he likes his one lady, but the lady likes guys with hair. She likes a long kind of Fabio kind of guys, but he's bald and he can't grow hair anywhere. So anyway, they realized he can control fire. So they trained him, blah, blah, blah. And these capsules right here are full of liquid. And when you expose it to the air, it catches on fire. It's like gasoline, but when you break the capsule, it just catches on fire. It's just a little fire. That's all it is. But he can control it. So this is, like I said, this is the first page, because I really didn't know anything about inking and cross-hatching and all of that stuff. I used to be a big Jim Lee fan, or, I think this was probably before Jim Lee hit it big. So, but, I know I wanted to do some special kind of, and I didn't know about line weight, a lot of stuff. And again, I'm putting my word balloons in before the words, which was, straight amateur. And what really happened is, I don't think I have a pencil page, is I penciled this and I took it to a convention, and the guy really couldn't see. I copied it. That's what I copied it, and it wouldn't copy right. It wouldn't copy. I could have darkened the copy, but it didn't copy, and I took it to the convention, and the guy really couldn't see it. So I ended up inking it. No, I copied it. Then it wouldn't copyright, so I inked it, and then I took it to the convention, and the guy was like, well, what are you trying to do? I said, I'm trying to be a penciler. He said, oh, you just inked over all your pencils. So he couldn't really see the penciling. So that just depressed me, so I stopped drawing for a little while. But anyway, another story. So there's a meeting of these crime lords, okay? So he uses his firepower to bust into the wall, knocked all these guys down, and this is his first appearance. So it's like, who is this fool? Get this guy. So everybody pulls out their guns. So he jumps out of the way of the bullets, and he throws a couple of his capsules. Capsules hit the table. They think it's a bomb, so they're like, get down, it's a bomb, And then when they look up, there's just a little bit of fire on the table. And they're like, what is this mess? Kill this fool. And then suddenly he has a fire to jump up, and like snakes. And then you know, wrap around and then come down and then hit a couple guys, and then he jumped and he slid across the table, kicking these guys. And at the end of it, he punched the bad guy, the leader, in the face. So, and there's my little boxes again. I had no idea what the hell he was going to say, but I thought if I put the boxes in, it's going to look professional, like a real comic book panel. So this guy, he was kind of waking up and he was like shaking, but he shot him in the head and he was like out. He's like, yeah, I got you. So, where is it at? Yeah. And as I said, I didn't know about coloring. So I tried watercolor, because back before we had Photoshop, they used to color the old things in watercolor. So I said, okay, and that's how old this is. So I said, okay, let me try watercolor. And watercolor was my enemy. So I liked the story and I liked the character. So I decided to redraw it. And now you can tell, and I laminated this because I knew it was going to turn yellow one day and I didn't want it to turn yellow. And this was pretty good from this to this, because you can see, let me get it that way, you can't see the glare. You can see that when I had him jump through the door, there's not much twist, you know, it's amateur, and that's something I try to teach you on the channel. You know, so when I redid it, I was a little better at drawing, I was a little better at penciling and shading, finding the light and shadow. So he jumps through the door, he busts through the door, so this is like right after this. And this should be more of a sequence telling thing and not a character development. But yeah, maybe I'll use this for sequences. So yeah, after that, he jumps through the door and he throws the capsules. He doesn't even, you know, talk to the guy. Let's get this out the way. And then it's like, look out, you know, he just threw some bombs or something. Same thing. He hits the thing, hits the table. And these guys like duck, and then they look up and they're like, huh, what is this? And you know, at least I did the thing before I did the bubble. So he jumped, I was like, kill this fool. So you see the fire starts kind of like bubble up, and then it jumped up. Instead of just the little balls, it turns to dragons, little dragon fire, and they chase these guys, and then it hits them and you know, knocks them into the table, the banquet table, because I gave a nice little banquet room. There, a little cake and so forth. This is the beginning of I had to put detail into a room. Yeah, knocks these guys out. So he jumps over the table again, kicks these two guys. This one's not laminated. These not laminated, but these came out so good. I don't want it to turn yellow, so I'm gonna laminate them. Kick these two guys out. The other guy's hiding under the table. He's cowering, hiding under the table. So he like picks the table up and throw it down, like, get out of here, get over here. So, you know, he snatches them up. Talk to him, whatever, you know, your breath stinks, whatever, and he busted the guy in the face, break his glasses. I think he might have knocked a tooth out or something like that. So, yeah, he's cool, you know, standing over the guy who's knocked out. So this other guy in the back, again, he kind of like staggers, oh, and then he gets up, he aims the gun right at his face, blam, shoots the guy. So now he's like, whatever, you know, yeah, who's the fool now or whatever. So he thinks the guy's dead. So he turns around, but the guy, he lifts his hands up. And then he has one of his capsules and he crushes it, which is, as I say, it just combusts. It's just a little fire, and he uses that fire and he just magna whatever, and shot the guy like the Human Torch and threw the guy into the wall. And then he was calling, you know, mission accomplished, come pick him up, because at the beginning of it, he was let down. A helicopter dropped him off on top of the building. So yeah. All right, now let's get back to the backstory. Now the reason for this suit is because fire is still attracted to him, but he can control it now. Like if you have a cigarette, if you're sitting across the room with a cigarette in a no smoking zone, he can, you know, no smoking area in a restaurant or whatever, he can make that little bit of flame from that cigarette jump up and turn into whatever and attack the guy. But he's still afraid of fire because of what happened. So he covers his body completely with this suit. And it's like a heavy, not a heavy, but it's a special material that's bulletproof. That's why the guy didn't kill him, because the suit is like bulletproof. And then he has these straps around him. And as I say, each one of these holds this liquid that combusts when it contacts air. It's just a little bit of, you know, fire. But from that, he can make, you know, a huge fire and explosion. So this is the flamethrower. He's in a stable of characters. And I said I'm going to do a poster of all my characters one day, just, you know, before I die, so that whoever takes over can just know my characters. And what was I saying at the end? Subscribe, hit the thumbs up. If you like this and what I'm doing, hit the thumbs up so that I can keep doing it. I know you like it, and keep doing it. So it was something else I was going to say, but I forgot what I was going to say because I know this video has just run long. yeah, I think that's it. So if you want to see a video of, you know, some of my older drawings, because I've done a lot, helped a lot of people, let me know in the comments, and then I'll just quickly flash some stuff, you know, on screen and tell you how it came about and so forth, and maybe see the development of what my skills were and so forth and so on. So yeah, just because I'm looking down. Yeah, that's it. That's it. I'm not going to show no more because, you know, time is gone by. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. As I say, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, tell your friends, tell somebody to subscribe so my channel can continue to grow. All right. Thanks a lot. I'm out. Class is over. Go on home. All right, and that is it for this video. And as I said, I got carried away a little too much, but you know, as an artist, we love to show our work. So hopefully you learned something and hopefully you enjoyed. And you know, if you give me the 50 likes, 50 thumbs up, then I will show you more stuff put together. All right, thanks for watching. See you guys in the next class.